Hello and welcome to today's episode of Authentic Achievements, where it's my pleasure to be joined by the fabulous Robert J. Moore. Robert, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me.
It's an absolute pleasure. Having chatted with you recently on my other show, I just wanted to continue the conversation. But before we get stuck into that, let me share a little bit more about Robert for the audience. So Robert J. Moore is a seasoned professional who's been prominently featured in Forbes and Disrupt Magazines. He's an internationally awarded bestseller and the founder of Magnetic Entrepreneur Incorporated, encompassing magnetic entrepreneur publishing. Robert played a key role in achieving the Guinness World Record and Global Recognition Award, impacting numerous lives throughout his coaching programs. Over the past 15 years, Robert's elevated his high-end mastermind programs to global recognition, becoming a sought-after teacher for individuals ranging from beginners to experts. And he imparts his precise techniques and strategies that he employs in his daily business operations. Robert generously shares his high-end performance methods with clients, enabling them to replicate his success in a fraction of the time. And he firmly believes that every business deserves success in respective fields. Magazines worldwide, national TV programs and radio shows have conducted interviews with Robert, and he's been invited to speak on prestigious stages alongside luminaires such as Jack Cranfield, Les Brown, Bob Proctor, Eric Thomas, Douglas Veerman, and Armand Murin. In addition to the coaching accolades, Robert earned noteworthy awards, including 9 for his 2023 documentary, Reinventing Freedom, which chronicles his inspirational journey from homelessness and prison to achieving recognition in Forbes. And it serves as a testament to his resilience and triumph. You really have had quite the journey, Robert, haven't you? Can you tell us?
It's been interesting.
Could you bring it to life a little bit for us, your journey so far?
Well, to be honest with you, I never thought my journey would be where it's at today. I mean, to be recognized worldwide, to be world renowned was never my goal. My goal was to share my passion and not worry about the money, because I learned early in the game that when I started worrying about the money, oh man, I got to pay this bill, I got to pay that bill, all I'm doing is attracting more bills, right? So when I listened to Napoleon Hill, The Secret, and all these different things that really helped me adjust my thoughts, it allowed me to see that the whole difference is that not to worry about the money. Now, what really helped me with it is 2 things. One was I end up going to an event where a guy, I'm going to say, smelled like pig shit. You know what I mean? Like he smelled like he was just on a farm. And he was sitting beside me. I thought, okay, well, this is going to be my first client, and I'm new to the coaching field. This is going to be my first client. We talked. We sat there and did everything. I didn't really get to know him too much. It was my mistake. I was new. I was fresh. I was green. Went from there. Next thing you know, I said, listen, you got Facebook? He said, yes. And then we went from there. We connected later, and then I realized that I'm not going to be able to coach this guy. And the reason for that is because he was the operations manager of Think and Grow Rich. And I thought to myself, well, this is embarrassing. I said to him, I said, this is embarrassing. I said, I thought you were a bum or something that was just coming in, and I was going to be able to coach you. Man, did he start laughing. He goes, it's amazing how first impressions happen. And then he started talking to me about, how much money do you have in the bank? Are you able to pay the $2,800 up front? I said, no, I can't. I said, because I only had $1,400 in the bank. No, $2,100 in the bank. He wanted $1,400 of it that day. And I'm thinking, well, how am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my bills? How am I going to pay my bills? I got rent next week. I got this, I got that. Next thing you know, he says, listen, you have a choice. He says, I'm not going to sit there and work with you if you're not going to pay me. But you have a choice. He says, if you pay me, I'll show you how to make that money, and you can earn that money before the next rent period or whatever it may be, before your next bills come out. He says, you'll still have $600 to play with if that helps to pay certain bills, your car payment, whatever. I'm thinking to myself, well, do you take that chance? I mean, I've heard this before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being the next con artist myself, I've heard this before. And then all of a sudden, I for some reason, I took the chance. Within that 2-week period, I ended up making $17,000.
Wow.
So he taught me that my passion had to come out, that not to worry, focus on those bills, that work on this passion and let people see what I'm all about. Give a solution to a problem, and things will happen.
I love that. It's so true, isn't it? If we focus on who we're serving and how we're serving them rather than what we need first, then that's when the doors of opportunity just seem to fly open, don't they? And you end up meeting people going, how do I meet you?
I got something the other day that blew my mind. I never even knew existed.
Okay.
I'm sure you've seen it around. It's right here in my hand, actually. I'm going to show you. It's from Forbes Business Awards. It's Legends of Coaching Award, presented to Robert J. Moore.
I love it.
I've never even knew it existed. You know what I mean? Like I got numerous awards. I got Forbes up there, Guinness World Records, all the awards across here. You know, like it's not, to me, it's not about bragging rights. Because if it was bragging rights, you'd see my credentials up there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know what my credentials are because I don't tell them. What I do is I utilize all the credentials I have and try and bury it inside me, try and find out why I was the asshole of the person I was. See, the thing is, a lot of people don't know my past. I was 17 years in and out of prison. I was working for the bikers and the mafia, right? And then went from there, and you know, I got a bad reputation from doing that. I was a drug addict, alcoholic at the same time. I'm going on 19 years clean and sober this year. I mean, like, and then I changed my whole body around and looked at, okay, I want education. Well, during that education, I become addicted to education, become addicted to learning to figure out who I was, not to put something on the wall and say, hey, look, I got another one, I got another one, I got another one. So here's what I got. I got social service worker diploma, addictions degree, BA in psychology, master's in counseling psychology, harm reduction, mental health crisis, and 2 honorary doctorate degrees. I didn't do that to impress anybody. I did that to find out why my behavior was acting the way it was in order to affect other people. So once I started figuring that out, then I started saying, okay, well, now I'm doing that. I've learned that, oh, wow, I can start reading people now. You know what I mean? So I started being able to read people, how they are, their physical, you know, expectations are and everything else, the way the body structure is, the physiology of the face. You know, I started reading the tone and everything else. It was just really weird how it just came out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was really been quite the journey to start that way and to be able to put your passion out there in order to build people up.
I love that. But it sounds like a large part of your journey was around that introspection first. So how do I better understand myself?
I mean, because I was a collector, right? I mean, I was a collector. I mean, you don't want to get involved with people like even in the business I just had. Now I'm 18 years clean, so I'm going on 18. Doesn't mean the thinking goes away. Yeah. The actions have to go away, not the thinking. Now check this out. I had people like I own an in-home business for daycare, right? For elderlies, right? For home care, not daycare. Daycare's young kids, pardon me. Home care, and like a 92-year-old would be $6,000. I'm thinking, well, how do I collect that $6,000? And back in the day, it would be like you just go kick in the door and put the shotgun to the guy's face. You get your $6,000 in a hell of a hurry. But it's like, what am I thinking? Why am I talking like that? You know, I mean, like that doesn't work. You can't go around breaking legs for $6,000, and you know, you take them to court or you whatever, right? Or talk to the family. They always paid. It's just got to remember that if they're elderly people, that they don't pay on time. You know, you talk to their family, and they always paid. Good business. I was making about $50,000 a month, but I found the business wasn't me.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I was a magnetic entrepreneur. I built that up to millions and millions and millions. And I decided to sell that because I just wanted away from the coaching, away from the publishing, away from everything for a while. That's the only reason why I bought this other franchise with the elderly. I did that for 6 months. Right? It was a really good job. I was really structured, 33 people underneath me, you know, and I just recently sold that 2 weeks ago. And the reason why I decided to go back to coaching is because people kept calling me up and saying, oh, I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. Plus, Think and Grow Rich, the CEO, asked to sit down and have a lunch with me, Satish Verma. And I said, yeah, not a problem, bro. I said, let's do it. So we sat down at lunch, and he says, I'd like to certify you as a coach. I said, wow, that's an honor right there. And then Armin Moore, the top strategist in the world, I rehired him for another year. And so I got 2 of the top coaches in the world right now that are willing to bring me to another level because they already know the level I was already at. But at this point in time, you start a brand new company. Now you have to get yourself out there again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you got to utilize what you already know and utilize what you have to bring it to the forefront of the new one. And then at the same time, you got to still utilize, the person still got to utilize your name to build their company, because Magnetic Entrepreneur still has to live through someone else now.
I love that. So what would you, I mean, you've done so many things, and you've done so much learning about yourself to be able to learn about others. What would you say has been the greatest lesson you've learned so far?
The greatest lesson to learn is the fact of you can sit down long enough to listen to someone else's thoughts and allow them to digest their stuff. And when I see them understand and put that little smile on their face, it's settling. It's settling. It's okay, Ray. I'm on the right path. You know what I mean? I can't help everybody. I honestly can't. You know, like I'll say one thing one way, you'll say it another way, and you might be able to be the one helping them. I don't know. It depends on how they take it. Depends on how you say it. You know what I mean? It just depends on some people. It's the voice. Maybe some people don't like certain people's voices. Maybe I'm the kind of guy. I'm a straight shooter, and a lot of people don't like that. They're scared of that because they're scared to hear the truth. I don't give two flying shits about their emotions. I don't. I care about their business. When they're working with me, they don't hire me to be a babysitter for their emotions. We'll work on that later. You know what I mean? Like I work on that through my certificate program, the emotions, the boundaries, and everything else with that. And then I build them up as the coach that they're supposed to be. And then the marketing part comes in. And then they build the structure and the foundation of their business and then climb up from there. That's a year-long certification program I have. But the reason why I do it that way is just because if you don't know you, how are you going to grow?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of people don't know the structure or foundation either.
No, and if you don't know yourself, how can you hope to know anybody else? Because if you can't do the introspection and sit with the whole of you, the light and the dark, and understand it, and be accountable for it, then actually you halt your growth, don't you? And if you halt your growth, you halt the impact that you're going to have on other people.
Here's the biggest thing. I tell people, oh, you're a coach. Big deal. There's 100,000 of them in your area. What makes me different from the other coaches? For one, I'm me. I don't go by the box. I don't go by what they do. I'm an outside box thinker. I drill my stuff into when I do one-on-one. I work on you. I don't put my expectations on what you're supposed to do. I sit there and say, okay, your body language and that, I want to know where you want to go with it. This is where you're comfortable with your own self. This way you're comfortable doing your own job, right? This way you're comfortable at growing your own business and learning your own business. And then teaching the people the right way to handle that. Instead of, you know how many coaches I went to and said, no, you're doing it the wrong way. You have to do it this way. Well, I don't like that way. I don't like it that way. You know what I mean? They don't explain to you why you have to do it that way. I explain to people why. I might tell people, look, it's best you do it this way or that way. But the thing is, I give them a choice. I don't tell them what to do. I give them a choice. And if you look at my reputation, I've helped over 200,000 people. And I got a good reputation out there. If you Google my name, Robert J. Moore, I come up all over the place. You know, and this is coming from a guy living from the streets, 7 years on the streets, in out of prison, you know, to where I am today. And that's not a bragging right there. But all that is to show you that if I can do it, no matter who the hell's listening to this right now, they can do it too. Yeah. They just need to reach out and get that right help.
You're just sharing your lived experience, aren't you? You're saying, actually, this is what I lived. So
you're allowing them to actually vent.
Yeah.
You're allowing them to vent. See, and the thing is, a lot of the coaches think that they're not allowed to actually put their emotion into it. Okay, I'm gonna give you a little simple thing. If your face is in water, say you're in there for half a minute, you're obviously going to be dreaming. You wish you had some air, man. Oh man, I want some air. I want to be able to breathe. I can't breathe. Okay, take your face out of the water. But now, if you want your dreams to come true, all right, I always tell people the 18-inch rule. Put it from your head to your heart. All right, if you want as bad as you want to be able to breathe in that water, you put it from your head to your heart, and then you put your dreams behind that emotion.
Yeah.
If you got an emotion behind that dream, you're likely going to achieve it a little faster, and it's going to be more of a appealing to you.
It's so true, isn't it? When I remember one of the things I often say to people when they're stuck in the I can't do it is say, try re-saying that with it's not important to me and see how it feels.
You can always get them to watch Napoleon Hill. You can always get them to watch Think and Grow Rich or the movie The Secret.
Yeah.
It helps change people's thoughts around. There's a guy that I'm going to be introducing you to anyways. He's one of my students, and he always done things his way for the last several years. Now, he's been my client for a few times.
Yeah.
He's always done things his way. Finally, this way, he said, listen, I'm willing to do it your way. I said, what happened to all the other ways that you thought he would even interrupt me and just continue with his own words. So this time I told him, I said, I'm not going to take your money unless you're going to listen.
Yeah.
Straight out. You know what I mean? Like, and he knows I'm tough. I straight forward. I will tell the person, I mean, hey, this is what needs to be done. I was taught, I was like literally Les Brown. I've been on stage with him. I've been on stage with all these people, like hip hop preacher, Eric Thomas, on stage with him, Greg Walker, all these people I've been on stage with, all these top people on. It was weird how it happened. I started off going right to the top and staying at the top. You know, my first gig of being on stage was with Les Brown and Bob Proctor, and I was sandwiched between them.
Yeah.
It was the wildest thing, man. I mean, like it was. I got off lucky on that. It was the right moment, right time, and then it just built my career up because of the image of me being on stage with these two guys. I had to actually live that expectation now. So then later on down the road, guess what I ended up coaching? Les Brown's daughter for 4 years.
Wow.
Now that was amazing. You know, coach his own daughter. Like a legendary guy like him, I'm coaching his daughter. And then now this is why, you know, like I get Forbes telling me that I'm a legendary person. I never thought I'd be a legend ever. I never look at myself as a legend. I just look at the fact that, you know, I'm there to help people. I'm there to put myself out there to inspire people, to help build their brand. I love branding people. You know, I've won Guinness World Records with people. And the only reason I was sicker than a dog, I had COVID back then. I was throwing up monkeys, man. Like it felt like I was coughing up a monkey and I had pure blood coming up. I should have been in the hospital. But my word was, I'm going to help you guys win this Guinness World Record. Once that day was over, I went to the hospital and I stayed there 10 days. They said, you're lucky to be here. Yeah. But my word is my word, and I will guarantee you my word. If I put a program out there and I get people to pay me $25,000 for the year, you know, and a certain program up to $150,000 a year, depends on the program they chase, right? If I tell them, look, I will get you the 50 grand. If not, I'll continue to work with you free until you do. That's going to be a little bit more different than, okay, just pay me. I'll get you 50 grand. If you don't make it, well, you don't make it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You want to inspire the person. You want to give them a solution to their problem. You can't just leave them hanging at the end. I got their programs right out, and I show them like, hey, this is not working. This is not automated. This is not working here. This is not working here. Why aren't you doing webinars? Why aren't you doing podcasts? Why aren't you interviewing certain people? Why aren't you giving more of an interaction? You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I guess it's because you're being driven by your passion and your passion to help people to be the best that they can be. Then actually that becomes it's amazing what we can do when we've got a passion that sits behind something, and you can overcome obstacles that you just can't imagine the alternative. And it's always because your purpose is so great in that one area. I remember being in intensive care a few years ago, and the doctor, I said to him, like, when are you going to let me out? Because I've got a little girl at home and she's not done more than one night away from me. And he was like, madam, I don't think you're getting out. You don't understand. I just looked at him. I was like, no, you don't understand. I'm getting out of here and you are going to let me. And all you need to do is tell me what I need to do to be the person that picks her up from nursery. And I was really lucky. 3 days later, I was let out. And he said, I don't understand how you got, I saw your x-rays, how you got your body to go from that to this in 3 days. I went, really simple. My little girl needs me. So my passion, my driver meant that everything else didn't even get thought of. And I think that's kind of some of what I took away from reading people like Napoleon Hill and Florence Scovel Shine and thinking it's that you've got to have a purpose that's bigger than the fear of not achieving. Would you say that's fair? Here's
the thing: if you're fearing something, you're on the right track. if you feel like you accomplished that and not fearing anything anymore, then you need to keep fearing something else. If you're the smartest person in the room, get the hell out of that room. Speaking of being in the hospital, I mean, I'm going to tell you something. This really geared me up and made me feel really, really good. Now, I got some close friends like Kyle Wilson, Jim Rohn's ex-business partner. I got Jim Rohn's deceased. Jim Rohn's ex-business partner. I forgot his name now. Holy cow. Yeah. Anyways, someone else out there. Jim. I'll get back to that one. Okay, he's the executive producer of Think and Grow Rich.
Okay.
All right. And he actually phoned me up on the phone and said, "Listen, we need you." And I said, "Why do you guys keep saying to me? You guys are at the top. Why do you guys keep saying to me, we need you?" Right? And he says to me, he goes, "Well, I'll tell you the reason why is that you're the upcoming us. So we need you to carry that name on for us." You know what I mean? I said, "That's really cool." And then he says to me, he goes, "Do you have a videotape there or something, a laptop or something there?" And I said, "No." And he says, his name's John Chin, by the way. Sorry. John Chin. I was getting that mixed up with Jim Rohn for some reason. John Chin said, I'll fly down there in my private jet. I'll give you a laptop with Think and Grow Rich on it so you can watch it while you're in the hospital, and then I'll leave. I said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "That's a long trip." I said, "How much would that trip cost you?" He goes, "About $10,000 to $15,000. No big deal. You're a friend." You know what I mean? I'm thinking, well, that is pretty cool. For a guy that level, I mean, you know, like for a guy that level recognizing me, even Kyle Wilson phoning me up in the hospital. I mean, this guy coaches people like all over the world. Even the guy, Mr. Colin from Def Leppard there, he coaches him too, the lead guitarist. You know what I mean? So I mean, like, he coaches some pretty high-end people. And he gets on the phone just to make sure I'm okay. You know what I mean? Eric Thomas gets on the phone, make sure I'm okay. You know, Les Brown's daughter gets on the phone, make sure I'm okay. They're phoning my personal phone in the hospital to make sure I'm okay. Now, the only reason why I mention that is because when you're doing something in life, you're leaving something behind that's going to affect someone in a different way. You can either do that in a positive way or a negative way. So if you're going into a field and you're just being negative about things and you're cutting things up, nobody's really going to want to work with you very much. Right? You might want to switch that around. And I was a very negative person coming in. I'll be honest with you. I never smiled. I was always fighting. That's what I was doing. I mean, I fought for the bikers, right? You know, I kicked in doors and collected and whatever I had to do. And it was the worst. Today, I mean, hey, I'm not going to change a thing in the world I did in the past. You know what I mean? I had people die in my hands. It was an awful experience. But I won't change anything that happened in my past because my future is what I am today. And now I love who I am today is because I have so much passion to help other people and empower other people. I can get them there now. It's like people sit there and say, "Well, how do you win a Guinness World Record?" Well, that's simple now. I know how to do it. You know, how do you do this now? How do you get on TEDx? That's simple. Everything's simple to do. You just got to learn the right tracks to do it. Now, most people, I'm going to be honest with you, most people, they say, "Well, it's not paying my bills." So they got to chase the money. So they're chasing the money. They forget the foundation. They forget the structure of their business. And when COVID came, they all started crumbling. Why? Because they didn't have a foundation. They didn't have a structure. When mine hit the Magnetic Entrepreneur, honestly, even people from the UK and everywhere, all over the world, were coming to me, asking me, "Hey, I need to build this business online now. I need to publish a book. I need to do this. I need to do that." I put an extra zero on the end of my paycheck. Literally, it was amazing.
Yeah. But because you got and it's so often the case, isn't it? If you get the basics right, and then you use that as your solid foundation to grow, but the basics aren't always the most fun.
You got to learn to crawl before you walk, and people just think you have to walk first. Yeah,
and I think we see these. We see these seeming overnight successes, but they're not. A lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of
my overnight success took me 20 years.
But that's the thing to see, isn't it? Is that consistency, is the sweat in the small stuff, making sure that you've got the right processes in place, the right infrastructure, the right elements together. They just see
it's a lot of branding, right? It's a lot of branding. if you're sitting there saying, okay, you're Robert J. Moore, you're going out there and like I'm wearing regular shirts and I won't wear a tie. I'm not a tie person. I'll get on stage, I'll wear a nice shirt, nice pair of pants, but I mean, I'm not going to wear a tie. I'm not going to exceed that expectation for you, an image for you to put on, because I don't like ties. I don't like anything around my neck.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go to Walmart in my PJs either. That's my brand. If I go to Walmart in my PJs, that's people are going to see me differently.
Yeah.
Why? I'm not going to go to food banks either. Why am I not going to food banks? I'm not going to go to these places where you get secondhand clothing either. Why am I not doing that? Because I don't want to be seen as that person. I want to be seen as the person that's actually empowering, helping other people out, and that's able to get the job done professionally. Not sit there and say, oh, I'm doing it this way, and then all of a sudden I'm going to the secondhand store getting myself some clothes. It doesn't really look good. It doesn't look like you're making any money. It doesn't look like you're doing the right thing. You're putting a bad image out there.
Yeah. I think they say, don't you, that you've got to live like you're already there. As in the person you're going to.
I don't believe in fake it till you make it. I believe that you have to chop up the circle in order to start it right.
Yeah.
I mean, like if there's a circle there and you're banging your head against that wall, well, stop bloody well putting the wall there. Move your head somewhere else. Put on a pillow. I mean, like whatever it may be. I mean, you have to break that cycle. You're not going to break the cycle by doing over and over and over again by doing the same thing. I mean, a lot of people say practice and you'll get it. Well, the problem is if you're practicing the exact same thing, you're going to get the exact same results.
Yeah.
Change it a bit. Change it up. Try different solutions.
Well, I think that's it. I mean, the one thing that's constant in all our lives is change, isn't it? And therefore, what worked yesterday will need to evolve to work today. And it doesn't always need to be completely changed, but we need to make sure it remains relevant. That otherwise, we stop growing. And I think that's the point that we're all supposed to be. We're supposed to be growing. We're supposed to be learning. We're supposed to be being better. I say to my little girl, the only job you've got in life each day is to be a better version of who you are than you were yesterday. Whoever that is. I'm not going to tell you what that person needs to be, but just make sure you end each day thinking, today I was a better me than yesterday. I learned more. I understood more. And able to help more.
Well, it's the biggest thing. I mean, people are always watching you. I don't care what you say. I mean, if you're doing podcasts, if you're doing things out there and you're doing things on the internet, if you're automating things, no matter what you're doing, people are watching. And believe it or not, there's something you say that's going to hit someone's down the road. Like I've done podcasts that affected people like you would not believe. I never knew I could attract these people before, and they're the highest people in the world. They come on, they private message me and say, hey, listen, I like what you said today. Like, wow, was that really you? Was that like, did you really just comment me and that made me feel good? Like, how do you know who I am? Like, I'm a little guy in the pond and you're messaging me. Somehow or another, they're seeing a message that you're putting out there. And I believe it's intentional from God. God's directing them to hear that message because they need to hear that message that day. And it just so happens is bringing you guys together. You know what I mean? Like that's how I met Bob Proctor. It just right out of the blue. He messaged me, said something, went from there, and started moving on from there. And then I met up with his son Brian. What a cool cat he is. You know what I mean? People don't realize that certain people have legacies in their life that if you just pay attention to what they're doing, don't be exactly like that person, okay? Yeah, go get 10, 15 people, learn from those 10, 15 people. I studied 21 people in my life. It's 21 people I studied in order to be here today. I only took a nick of this person, nick of this person, nick of this person, nick of this person, put it all together, built the person I am today, and away we go, right? Like, I mean, you can only do what you can do.
I love that. But it was about that looking to learn, isn't it? And see what bits do I like, what bits do I not like.
Well, mind mapping. I call them mind mapping. So you got the mind map here, mind map here. So say hypothetically, Tony Robbins. What you do that here, how, why, how, all the W's, right?
Yeah.
All the H's at the same time. Then you sit there and say, okay, well, you're mapping it. Who does he serve? What does he serve? Like, how many people does he track? Does he track online? Does he track in person? You know what I mean? You sit there and map it yourself. How do you compare to that? Right? So you look how you compare to that and how you're doing things differently. And you want to visualize yourself in that scene. But the thing is, you don't want to be him. You don't want to take his personality. You just want to take on the fact of how he's doing it, the concept of how he's doing it. So incorporate some of that concept in there. It's just like certain people. If you're down and out, you really want to make money. I'm going to tell you a simple way right now, a real simple way. Get a hold of these big shots. Ask, listen, can I be an affiliate to selling your tickets? Being an affiliate to selling someone's tickets will get you sometimes 5 or 10% of the sales. If you got a big name like Les Brown or Tony Robbins and that, do you really need to sell that ticket? No. The reason why is because it sells itself. People don't need to know who you are in order to sell a ticket. They already know the person. So basically all you're doing is just here, put it out there on that platform, let people buy it, right? And then you get your commission later. It's an easy way to make money. And I wouldn't say I would keep it as a job, but I mean, if you do, at least you can go big and you go hardcore on it and go to a lot of different people that are big.
Yeah. So if you could go back and give your younger self any advice, what would it be?
Give my younger self. I couldn't give my younger self any, because you know what? I wanted, obviously it was meant to be the way it was meant to be. It was, when you look at the situation, I was homeless for a reason. I was in and out of jail for a reason. It was to teach me a lesson. If I sit there and change that pattern, who would I be today? Think about it. So if I go tell myself something different, like hypothetically, I go back today, travel back and say, do this, do that, that could screw my whole future up.
Yeah, I can see that. I guess for me, there's something I learned later on in life that I kind of wish I'd learned earlier on, is everything in it is either a lesson, a blessing, or both. So if I don't feel blessed, I should look for the lesson, because that's where the blessing is. And that wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change any of the experiences I had, but it made sense of them for me.
Like I've had the mother of my children die in my hands. Die giving birth. I've had 3 of my brothers die. You know what I mean? Both my parents are dead. It's been a hard life. The thing is, those lessons kept me strong. So listen, I'm going to mention this right now. When you ask God, why are you putting me through these hard, rough waters? Like, these waters are rough. Why am I going through this at this period of time in my life? And when the reaction comes back to you by sitting there saying, because your enemies can't swim, it makes a lot of sense. You know what I mean? So go through those rough waters. It's sweeter on the other side. Identify what's going on. And a lot of people, like I said, I'm going on 19 years clean and sober. I don't want you going down that road of being a drug and alcohol person that hides their emotions. Try and identify who you are, who you want to be. You know what I mean? If you're already into it and you want to learn a little bit deeper, you really want to deeply learn who you are, look up California 4-Step. It's got 300 questions on there. It talks about who you are as a child, adolescent, adult, talks about your parents, your grandparents, talks about your business. I mean, everything that you think of, it molds it into one, and basically you write it out on paper, and you're supposed to tell another person. I don't care if you're telling another person that may not even listen. Maybe they got headphones on and you're just sitting there saying it out loud. You know what I mean? And then throwing it in the fire pit. But what it is basically you're getting it off your chest, you're getting it out of your system, and you feel more comfortable with yourself. That's really all it is. So, I mean, like, I've done all this stuff in order to make myself a better person, because I didn't like the person I was. I was so angry. So I've done all this stuff to make me feel better. And now I'm able to help other people out. Like, I've helped people out for years now. For the last 10 years, I've been going pretty strong with helping people out. And the thing is, I don't go to people. They come to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
that's because of your lived experience and the fact that, you I think sometimes that's what we want. We want to learn, and often.
Well, 90% of people don't know my past. No. Did you know that 90% of people don't know that I was, in and out of jail and all that? I, honest to God, when I brought that documentary out, And people were learning that I was in that jail. They said, "We've never seen that. We've never seen that coming." They just see me as someone that's achieving all these goals. And the problem is that they're like, "Oh, well, you've always been this way. So what would you know about this?" That's the reason why I started coming up with my past, like, because I want people to understand, look, I've been there too.
Yeah.
I can identify. I mean, there's sympathy and empathy. There's two different things there.
Yeah.
If you're doing sympathy is one thing. You don't want to take away someone else's emotions. All right. So you got empathy and sympathy. So hypothetically, say this is the box of Kleenex and you're sitting there crying, the other person's crying. I might just go like this, just push it towards you, just to show you that the Kleenex is there. I'm not going to take away your emotions from you because I want you to identify those.
Yeah.
Same with business. I want you to identify the things that are going on with your business. But if I take those away from you, then I'm carrying on that burden and you don't need to worry about it. You just keep making the same mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I think also we don't always know. I always think when people say, "I know how you feel," well, you don't know how I feel. Because you're not asking me how I feel, and I don't know how you feel. I might have been through a similar situation, but I don't know how you feel. That's yours. I can share the space with you so that you've got company whilst you look at it and whilst you understand it. But as you say, it's there.
You can identify certain similarities to it, but not the actual event.
And you can say, I can't begin to imagine how you feel. I know I've been through something similar, but interesting what you said when people don't know your past. Yeah, I had a similar experience where I actually did it for a friend. He, for part of his business, he wrote my life story in 60 tweets, and I did a video for him of it. And I got people reaching out and said, "I'm 1,000 times more likely to work with you now because of that video." And I was like, why is that? And they said, "Before, we assumed that your life's just run perfectly smoothly and you've never hit a bump in the road or any challenges because that's what we perceive today." And I was like, I don't think anybody's life runs smoothly with no bumps in it. We've just been taught to not share those.
Well, when I put a picture up last year, this year, it's a mutual friend of yours and mine, ex-mob boss from the UK there. We won't say his name, but when he came to Canada, him and I were together, and we had pictures together. And people were like, "Robert, we didn't know you knew the mob." Like, well, what's the difference? Who would know?
Yeah.
The point is that I'm doing well today. And I was actually his publisher for his book. And that's the reason why we met up. We didn't meet up because we're looking at, everybody thought, well, here's the guy that was striking before. Here's an ex-mob boss. What are these two up to, man? We got to watch out. I mean, no, it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
When we say X, I mean, it's like your ex-girlfriend, man. They're behind you.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not there to discuss, okay, we're going to do a bank robbery. We're actually there to discuss how we could do better things to help other people out. That's the best way to do it.
It's so true, isn't it? It's I always thought we're not a product of we're not a victim of our circumstance. We're a product of our choice, because there is always choice.
Yeah, you make a choice there for sure.
There's always choice, and if we make the wrong one, and I share this with my little girl all the time, if you make a bad choice that doesn't serve you, the beauty is you can make a different choice straight away. A choice isn't permanent. It's something that we can evolve and change from.
You just brought that right to my attention that I want to say this because a lot of people make the wrong choices. Don't make a permanent solution for a temporary problem. I see too many people do suicide. I see too many people make the wrong choice. They want to throw themselves off the bridge, or they want to hurt themselves, or somehow affect other people because they're going through a temporary situation.
Yeah.
Don't make that wrong choice. Remember that solution will temporarily go away. It's a temporary situation that you're going through. If you need to get the help for the mental health or whatever it is for that period of time, get the help. Do not make a permanent solution for that temporary problem.
That's such a good point. And actually, one of my guests that I've just recently had on, she was able to share how the education program she's done saved 8 separate women from suicide because it got to them at the right time and gave them an alternative solution for what turned out to be, as you say, Robert, a temporary problem because they've overcome it.
I've helped a few people with some suicide situations. I've helped mostly I've helped people with the grieving of their partner.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times I was more of an emotional person. I dealt with their emotional stuff, and that's probably what made me harder and thicker skin, because I used to wear my heart on my sleeve when I was addiction counselor. And the problem is I wasn't making any money doing that. And when I was not making the money doing that, what happened was I was putting myself in a bad position, right? Hold on, someone's at my door. And when I was doing that, I was put in a bad position. I'm on a live right now. 60?
Yeah, I gotta order. I gotta transfer the lady from the paper. I can't get it.
Okay, I got the mic. Okay. It's $60. I guess you got a part you got to cut out.
You've got to live with me. My little girl often wanders in, or as you've already seen, the dog sometimes decides.
This one here will be 18 tomorrow.
Oh wow!
She'll be 18 years old tomorrow. She don't go to mom. She don't go to mom. She goes to dad. My 6-year-old don't go to mom. Goes to dad. You know, they know side their bread's buttered on. Well, I mean, I'm kind of like the strict one in the house. My wife just lets them do whatever they want. But honestly, I am strict as a father too, especially with I can't go to the park. I can't go to the park with my kids, because if I see a kid bullying my kid, I'm going to go right to their parents and deal with it. I mean, I know what I'm like. I have to work on that. But I mean, at the same time, I just choose not to go to the park with them and don't get involved in activities like that, because I know it's like going to a barber's chair. You go to a barber's chair long enough, you're going to get a haircut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What's the primary purpose of going to the park is to have fun. But when someone's bullying your son and that's irking you, let your wife take the child to the park.
I think it's learning, isn't it, how to take yourself out of the situation that's that eventually isn't gonna end well.
This girl right here, she asked me, she goes, Dad, can you teach me how to shoot a gun? I said, I got rid of all the guns. She goes, why'd you get rid of all your guns? I said, because you got boyfriends coming over and you're getting older. She didn't understand that one bit.
No, I totally get that. I remember when my brother had his daughter, he suddenly decided that, and from the age of, he told me when she was just born, he said from the age of 8 until the age of 35, you are not allowed to go out with her on your own. I was like, brilliant.
I told my daughter, I said, we're locking her in the closet till she's 35.
I was like, by that point, I'll be about 90. I think I'm allowed to get out. But
I got 6 kids away.
Wow.
I got a 32-year-old, a 31-year-old, a 28-year-old, the one that's turned 20. She's going to 18, and then the other one's 6. Now, two of them are not my biological, but the other 4 are my biological children.
Wow. That must be a great source of pride. To see
it is, but the problem is I only see 2 of them. I only see the 2 that I'm bringing up here. The other ones I don't talk to. I'm a grandfather now. I've never met my grandson, never. My lifestyle that I lived, I have to look at how I affected other people too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? My son, if you ever get a chance to see my documentary, he talks how he used to sit there and right on, my dad was a gangster. My dad was a gangster. It was really cool, you know, like he used to, this is cool now. Hey, how many people have got a dad as a gangster? They'll do this and do that. You know, my dad will come down and kick your dad's ass or whatever kind of thing. But now he's a police officer. Wow. And he doesn't want to kind of he knows I changed, but I think he's having a hard time accepting that change. See, that's a problem too, something in life. Even when I become clean and sober, I've had people that loved me around when I was drinking. The minute I got sober, they couldn't stand me. They didn't want me around. My own family members didn't want me around because they were so used to me putting the fear out there to people. You know what I mean? Like I would do things that people would be unpredictable. Yeah. Now it's like, well, this isn't you. Yeah, it is me. It was me the whole time. It was just barricaded underneath all that pressure. So I mean, it's scary. It's scary to think how it really affects other people. I want to put out something. If you go middle of London, middle anywhere you want to go to a park, the busiest area in the world that you could think of, put yourself there, put yourself in a chair. Don't say a word to anybody. Just look around. Look how this world just keeps, people are moving around, doing their own thing. Nobody's paying attention to you. Now you realize that the world is working with or without you.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So that's how important you are when nobody's saying hi to you. What are you going to do about that for people to recognize you? There's the difference. Now, I had a choice. I was on the front covers many times like this.
Yeah.
Armed robberies, attempted murders, whatever. But guess what? Now I could be on the front cover like this. Which way would you rather be?
I love that. I think that is a great place to wrap it up. It really is a demonstration that you are constantly able to change your choice and to find one that better serves you and better serves the people that you come into contact with. Robert, it's been an absolute delight as always. I look forward to our next conversation. And until next time, thanks for listening.
I appreciate you having me.